Okay, so as we were just talking about, we're going to start touching base with surveys a little bit more next week. But just to kind of give you an idea of what's coming, we're going to go ahead and fill out and determine the answers for this survey. So they took a survey over social media, which were their favorite. 3 people voted for Facebook. 1 person voted for Twitter. 22 people voted for Snapchat. And 15 people voted for Instagram. What we need to determine is what fraction of the people like Facebook better. What fraction of the people like Snapchat better? Then we're going to go and determine what percent of those people preferred each of the following: Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Before we can do that, you guys already told me we need to determine the total amount of people that took this survey. So we know 3 people voted for Facebook, we know 1 for Twitter, 22 for Snapchat, and 15 for Instagram. So how many people voted, or how many people took this survey? 41. So we got that by just adding up the responses that we got. So our responses were 41 people took this survey. So with that information, we can now determine the fraction of each. So how many people, what fraction of people voted for Facebook? So how do we come up with a fraction of the people that voted for Facebook? Hey, Mike, have a seat. Mike, have a seat. Right behind you, but we don't get up when I'm lecturing. Kelly. Good, 3 out of 41, or 3 over 41. Basically what that means, 3 people out of 41 people total likes Facebook better. Okay? Now, can this be reduced? 3 over 41?
No.
No, you're right. So we're going to leave that as it is. So then we go to Twitter. Kaylon, what fraction of people prefer Twitter? 1 over 41. We're going to do that in a second. Cody, what fraction of people like Snapchat? Over. And then, what fraction of people like Instagram better, Alex? So why did we use 41 every single time as our denominator? Yeah, it's the total number of people that took the survey. So from this, we're now going to determine what percent that is. So I need to change a fraction to a percent. That's going to be in our second set of notes in our binder. Raise your hand if you can tell me how to change a fraction to a percent. Divide it is part 1 of it. And then multiply by. Okay. So when we say divide it, we're going to divide our what by our what?
3 divided by 41 times 100, and you do that with the rest of them.
Good. So we're going to take our numerator divided by, and I'm showing my work just like what you should, times 100. So my numerator divided by my denominator times 100. And if we get a decimal, we're going to round it to the nearest tenth of a percent. So when you take 3 divided by 4 times 100, what do you get? 75 what? Percent. Good. Oh my God, why did I say that, you guys? That would have been so easy. What's 3 divided by 41?
7.3.
So
7.3%.
You sure?
Yep.
Positive?
7.3%.
What was your big answer you got? You got 7.3170, so forth, so forth. So Mike, we're going to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. What number is in my 10th place value?
7.
The 3. So we're going to round it to the 10th. Look directly behind it. Is this number 5 or greater? Nope. So this 3 is going to stay the same as Mike told us. So he was right when he said our answer is going to be 7.3%. So 7.3% prefer Facebook. Thanks, you guys, for catching my ear. All right, next one. So now what percent prefer Twitter? Now, is that percent going to be greater or less than the people that like Facebook? Less than. So, Cody, how do I determine that?
The answer is 2.4.
This would be right, because I think I'm the only one in this school that uses
Twitter?
Twitter.
I'm not creative enough to tweet. I'm not witty enough.
Like, this is
Yes.
I know the answer.
Can you tell me how you got it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what'd you do?
1 divided by 41 times 100. It gave me 2.4 down. It's not greater than the 3 is not actually.
Hey guys,
greater
sit
than-
quietly, please.
The 3 is not actually greater than the 4, so it's going to remain at 2.4
2.4 what?
percent.
Nice. Good. So what Michael basically said, in order to change a fraction to a percent, you're going to have to take the numerator and divide it by the denominator, and you're going to multiply it by 100. When you do that, you're going to get 2.43902, and because our directions say to round to the nearest tenth, we looked at our tenth spot, which was a 4, took everything else off, looked directly behind that tenth spot. Is a 3 5 or greater? No, so that 4 stays the same. So 2.4% of people like Twitter out of the 41 people that were surveyed best.
Oh, Miss Lake, I can't see it. What the Tuesday?
Okay, I'll go through it just a second. Okay, AJ, what percent of people prefer Snapchat? How do you get your answer?
Do what you did for the last.
Which is? Nice try.
Actually, the answer is
Shh,
different.
Mike.
22 divided by 41.
Then what?
Then multiply by 100.
Okay. And when you take 22 divided by 41 times 100, what do you get? Where's your calculator at? What'd you get, Kaylon? Is that it? Just 3.7? There are no other numbers behind it?
It was, but then
Tell me what the other numbers are behind it.
I don't know because I didn't.
Do it again real fast. I just know I already made a mistake this morning, so I want to make sure that we don't make any more.
No, I don't.
And the other day when I trusted somebody, I made a huge mistake.
Yeah, that's them, not me.
Oh my gosh, you didn't even get the same thing you just told me.
But you gotta round it.
Okay, so when you take 22 divided by 41 times 100, you get 53.658. Then we can stop there. So if I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, Kaylon, what number is in my 10th place value?
6.
Okay, cancel everything else. What happens to that 6?
It becomes a 7.
Because,
Then the 5 is greater.
okay, so it's going to be 53.7%. Nice.
Yeah, so my answer was right.
I didn't hear you say the 5. All right, last one. So Instagram. What percent of people prefer Instagram? Danielle, what percent of people prefer Instagram? How do I find my answer? Then what do I do after I take 15 divided by 41? Okay. What's that equal? Okay. So 36.585. So we get 36.585. What number is in my 10th place value? The 5. Look behind it. Is that 5 or greater? So my answer is going to round to what? So 36.6%. So which social media is favored?
Facebook.
Snapchat. So Snapchat gets first place, then what? Instagram, then what?
Oh.
Then Twitter came in dead last. Okay, so the other thing when you guys are doing surveys, you don't want to leave any open boxes. So right now, I have 2 open boxes that I do not have numbers in. Okay? So if you notice my bottom line here, it's talking about the total. So we're going to go ahead and find the total of fractions. Now when you find the total of fractions, what should my numerators be when I add them?
How do you even do that?
41. So if I take 3 plus 1 plus 22 plus 15, make sure that that equals 41. So you're basically adding the fractions together. Because they all have the same numerators, you can just because they have all the same denominators, you can just add your numerators or your top numbers together. So if I take 3 plus 1, I get 4.
41.
4 plus 22, I get 26. 26 plus 15 is, so my numerator is 41 over 41. That just makes us aware, or that just checks our work. That means that we have included everybody's vote. So basically, because it ends up being the same, we know that our fraction of the answer is correct. I have one more box that's empty. So my total for my percent, what that means, you're going to go through and add up each of your percent totals. So you're going to add up 7 plus 3 plus 2.4 plus 53.7 plus 36.6. Does it equal 100 exact? You did each one just like that and it equaled 100 exactly?
Yo.
Y'all agree? Now, why might it sometimes not end up being 100% exactly? Go on with it. Because why? No, not always because you messed up. What did I end up with here? What did I have to do in my percents? What do I have to do?
You have to round.
Round.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you round, it may not end up having your answer be exact right on. Now, if you're, like, let's say you're at like 99% or 101%, you're probably okay. But what if you add up your percents and you're at like 70%?
That's good.
Then you're going to be wrong, like what AJ said. Okay, go ahead and flip it over. So there's going to be surveys that they're only going to give you the percent of what people prefer, where you're going to have to determine how many people like pizza, ice cream, chicken, burgers, etc. So in a survey last year, Belleville West students were asked what their favorite food was. We're going to complete the table with the missing information.
How are we gonna do this?
That's a really good question. So the first thing that we're going to have to look at, we have a percent and we have a total number of people. So to find the number of responses, we're going to change that percent to a decimal. How do I change a percent to a
Don't you do
decimal?
it by 100?
What do you mean by do it by 100?
You times it by 100?
Divide by 100, good. Okay, so then that's going to get us a decimal. So we're going to take this percent, change it to a decimal, but then I've got to do something with the total number of people. What do you think I'm going to do with the total number of people then? Yeah, good, Alex. So in order to find how many people voted for pizza, we're going to take 55% divided by 100 times 20. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that in. So number one, or not number one, but for pizza, 55% of pizza prefer pizza. So we're going to take 55 divided by 100 times, what Alex say? 20. So what's 55 divided by 100 times 20? 11. So they're saying 11 people prefer pizza. So if I know 11 people prefer pizza, what's my fraction going to be? 11 over 20. Good, Kelly. All right. So now, how many people prefer ice cream? So 20% of people picked ice cream, but how many people actually voted for ice cream? So we're going to follow the same step. So I'm going to take what?
20 divided by 100 times 2.
Good. Which equals?
4.
So 4 people vote for ice cream. So what's the fraction of people that like ice cream?
4 over 20.
Can you reduce 4 over 20?
Nope.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, they both end in even numbers, so we know at least they're divisible by 2. It's actually divisible by even a higher number. What's 4 and 20 both divisible by? Not by 5, because it doesn't end in a 0 or a 5. They're divisible by 2, but it's also divisible by another number.
4.
4. So what's 4 divided by 4? What's 20 divided by 4?
8?
What's 20 divided by 4?
20 divided by 4.
5.
5. Good.
Oh, bugging.
Okay. Okay. So now 15% of people prefer chicken.
3.
So how did you get 3?
15 divided by 100 times 15 times 15.
Wait. 15 divided by 100 times what?
Oh, 20.
20.
Divided by 100 times 15.
No, you did it. You wrote it right.
Okay, this my
He wrote it down right. He's just telling me wrong.
Ooh.
Just said it, repeated itself twice.
So 3 people. Yes. Jaden is right. He just told me how to do it wrong. 3 people. So what fraction of people prefer chicken?
KFC.
All right, last one. 10% voted for a burger. So how many people actually prefer hamburgers?
10.
10? So how'd you get that answer?
You divide it by 100 and times it by 20.
Are you sure?
Divide by 10.
So 10 divided by 100 times 20 got you 10?
Oh,
I think 2 people sound a little bit more reasonable. Just because if 10 people liked a hamburger, well, a larger percent like chicken and only 3 people like chicken. So that's another way that you can kind of see if your answers are right. So now, how can I determine if my responses are right?
This is what you do. You add them up.
Okay, so 11 plus 4 is
11 plus 1.
11 plus 4
Oh, you went that way.
is what?
15,
Plus 3.
17.
11 plus 4?
No. Plus 3 is.
So we're at 15 plus 3 is 18 plus 2 is
Plus 2 is 19.
woo 20. You guys are a mess.
I'm
Okay.
bugging.
Oh, what I forget to do?
I'm bugging.
2 over 20 for my fraction. Can 2 over 20 be reduced to what? What's 2 and 20 both divisible by?
1,
Yeah, every number is divisible by 1. Good answer.
2,
2. What's 2 divided by 2? And what's 20 divided by 2? 10. Now, when I go to add up my fraction, I should add up the fractions with the common denominator. So although we reduced or we simplified, we can only add up fractions or subtract fractions that have a common denominator, meaning they have the same denominator. So we're just going to add up the ones that all have 20 as our denominator. What should our numerator be once we add those all up? Yeah, 20. So if we really just look, when we took 11 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 over here, we got 20. Well, I have the same numbers right here. So they should still add up to 20 over 20. Am I finished?
Nope.
Why not? Yeah, I got my last box. So I need to find the total percent of people that voted. So does my total percent equal 100 for sure? 55 plus 20 is 75. 75 plus 15 is 90. 90 plus 10 is 100.
100%.